Chapter 1. Stop explaining yourself. Power is quiet. When someone truly respects themselves, you'll notice something strange about them. They don't try to convince anyone. They don't rush to explain themselves. They don't soften the truth. They don't justify their choices. They simply speak or don't. Because when you know your worth, you don't need to prove it. The fastest way to leak your power isn't by being loud, weak, or unsure. It's by explaining yourself. Too much. The story that changed how I saw confidence. I once sat in a boardroom with 15 executives, all waiting for the CEO. He walked in, 20 minutes late. No excuses, no long apology. He didn't mention traffic, meetings, or why he was late. He simply walked in quietly. He placed his notebook on the table, sat down, looked around the room and said, "Let's begin." Silence. No one questioned him. No one asked why he was late. Nobody expected an explanation. Why? Because confident people don't audition for approval. They operate from a place of psychological self-certainty. He didn't walk in with arrogance. He walked in with presence, and presence doesn't explain itself. Let that sink in. Why explaining yourself makes you look weaker. Here's the psychological truth. When you over-explain, people subconsciously assume you've done something wrong, even when you haven't. When you justify your past, they question your decisions. When you justify your prices, they doubt your value. When you justify your standards, they question your right to have them. Explaining invites negotiation, especially when you explain emotionally. When you feel the need to convince someone, what you're really saying is, "Please approve of me. Please understand me. Please don't think I'm selfish, rude, unreasonable." But here's the truth. You can be calm, kind, respectful, without explaining. The dangerous habit, justification. You might not even notice you're doing it. Listen carefully for these phrases in your own speech. "Sorry, I hope this makes sense, but I don't want to sound weird, but I could be wrong, but I just feel like..." These phrases aren't polite. They are permission-seeking behaviors. They are linguistic apologies, not for being rude, but for simply existing. You are not on trial. You do not need to defend every decision, every boundary, every feeling. Power is calm. Power is simple. Power is quiet. The new way to respond, try it for 7 days. Instead of explaining, rehearsing, overthinking, try replacing all those justifications with a single line. "That doesn't work for me." Say it slowly, calmly. No extra words, not, "That doesn't work for me because..." Not, "I would love to, but I'm just really busy." Not, "I'm so sorry, I can't." Just one that doesn't work for me. You owe no further detail. Your reasons are yours. The 7-day challenge for the next 7 days. Every time you want to explain, apologize, or defend, pause, breathe in quietly, and ask yourself, am I explaining because it's helpful? Or am I explaining because I feel guilty, uncomfortable, or insecure? If the answer is insecurity, stop and politely say, "That won't work for me." Silence. Then hold your ground. No squirming, no nervous laughter. Just calm, quiet presence. It will feel uncomfortable at first. That's your old conditioning leaving your body. Why this is so hard and why it transforms you. Most people don't explain because they are polite. They explain because they are afraid. Afraid of being misunderstood. Afraid of disapproval. Afraid someone might think they're rude, selfish, difficult, or cold. But here's the secret. You must be okay with being misunderstood to become truly unshakable. Strong presence doesn't come from being approved. It comes from being self-approved. Read that again in silence. A real-world example. The 2 colleagues. 2 people turned down a meeting. Rebecca, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I would have loved to, but my morning is just crazy, and I'm really stressed, and I have to catch up on so many things. Maybe next week. Please don't be offended. Lena, tomorrow doesn't work for me? Friday at 2 p.m.? Silence. Who sounds more confident? Who sounds more calm? Who would you respect more? The signature line. No is a complete sentence. No explanation, no justification, just clarity. Why you keep explaining it's not just habit. You learned this early. As a child, you had to explain yourself to everyone, parents, teachers, friends, even strangers. You were trained to give reasons for your feelings. You learned that approval is earned by explaining. But now, you're not seeking permission. You're building presence. To do that, you must make peace with one powerful truth. Not everyone deserves your reasons. When is explanation actually useful? When it is requested and when it is practical, not emotional. If someone asks, "Why did you make this decision?" You explain. Calmly, factually, briefly. But notice the difference. Explaining when asked, respect. Explaining when not asked, insecurity. The inner shift, this is where it really starts. The habit of explaining doesn't begin in the mouth. It begins in the mind. When you feel the urge to explain, it means one thing. On some level, you don't fully trust your own decision. Explaining externally starts with doubting internally. So before we fix how you speak, we must fix how you think, because your external certainty depends on your internal anchor. In the next chapter, we fix the real root of your anxiety, not your habits, not your words, your inner voice. Because when your inner voice is calm, your presence becomes calm. And when your presence becomes calm, you become unshakable. Calm is power. Silence is strength. No is a complete sentence. Chapter 2. Master your inner voice. Your mind is not the narrator, it's the listener. Most people spend their lives listening to their thoughts, but powerful people choose which thoughts they listen to. In this chapter, we are not chasing external confidence. We are building something quieter. Inner stability, the kind that doesn't shout, it just is. You want to know the real source of calm? It's not posture, not money, not dominance. It's the voice you believe inside your head. Most people have two voices. One is loud, dramatic, anxious, and always forecasting disaster. The other is calm, logical, and quietly certain, but it whispers. Guess which one gets your attention? The loud one. Not because it's right, but because it's loud. The shift real transformation begins when you stop treating your thoughts as commands and start treating them as suggestions. Your mind is not always your friend, but it's always your student. Your mind learns from what you repeat. If you feed it panic, it will serve you panic. If you feed it clarity, it will serve you clarity. That's why powerful people, the unshakable ones, speak to themselves differently. Mark's story, from panic to power. Let me tell you about Mark. 2 years ago, Mark walked into his office with shoulders tight, breath shallow, every step screaming anxiety. He had a sales call with a big client, a $1.8 million contract. His heart was pounding like this call was a courtroom interrogation. His mind kept saying, "Don't mess this up. They're judging you. You're not experienced enough." And as expected, he fumbled, not because he was incapable, but because he let his inner voice dominate the room. 6 months later, something changed. He wasn't richer. He didn't take a public speaking course. He didn't meditate on a mountain. But he learned one sentence that changed his life. Their opinion is not my reality. So before every meeting, he would speak this out loud. I respect myself. I can handle whatever shows up. Their opinion is optional. He didn't try to impress anyone. He just showed up, steady, clear, and warm. That deal? Signed. Then more. Now, top of his company, same skills, same person, different inner voice. Your confidence is not missing. It's just being drowned out by a bad narrator. Rewriting your inner script. The voice in your mind is not who you are. It's just the voice you've rehearsed the longest. Your inner voice was shaped by parents who were anxious, teachers who were critical friends who didn't understand you, society that rewards performance over presence. So, you internalize judgment. You learn to critique yourself before others could. Here is the truth. You don't fear people's judgment. You fear hearing your own voice agree with them. That's why we're not silencing the mind. We're training it. Morning mirror reset. Speak out loud slowly. Stand in front of a mirror and say calmly, I respect myself. I don't chase opinions. I handle things with calm. Their approval is optional. Now reflect on that. Then ask yourself, quietly, what would today look like if I spoke to myself like someone I respected? Let that question sit. Transformation is not loud. It's consistent. The X factor, light humor section. Quick question. Does your inner voice sometimes sound like your ex? You know, overly critical, emotionally dramatic, occasionally delusional? That's because your mind records emotional memories louder than logical ones. That doesn't make them true. It just makes them well rehearsed. So here's a rule. If the thought doesn't speak to you with respect, it doesn't speak for you. The inner voice training framework. There are 3 kinds of thoughts. 1, fear voice. What if I fail? The effect is paralysis. 2, support voice. You've done harder things before. Effect is courage. 3, leadership voice. Even if I fail, I'll be fine. The effect is calm power. Most people try to jump from fear to confidence. That's too big of a leap. Instead, move from fear, support, leadership. Transition example, fear voice. What if this presentation goes horribly? To support. Voice, so you've presented before, you'll be okay. To leadership voice, even if it goes badly, I'll handle it. Silence, that last sentence is what calm sounds like. You don't promise perfection, you promise stability. The 5-second reframe technique. When a harsh or anxious thought appears, don't argue with it, don't analyze it. Just ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, then it's not your real voice. Replace it, not with motivation, but with calm truth. I can handle this. I've done hard things before. I don't need to be perfect, just present. That phrase, I don't need to be perfect, just present, frees you from performance anxiety. Sound of calm, how unshakable people think. I don't chase certainty. I prepare and adapt. I don't chase approval. I respect myself. I don't rush. I move with intention. I don't try to be confident. I choose to be calm. This is how unshakable sounds. Less hype, more clarity, less drama, more direction. The voice you practice becomes the voice you believe. Every time you choose the calm thought, you make it easier to choose again. You are literally rewiring your nervous system. Your body starts trusting you. Your breathing slows down. Your posture opens up. Your body doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to sound like someone who's not a threat. This week's challenge, the mirror routine. Each morning, stand before a mirror, not to check how you look, but to check how you speak. Say, slowly, out loud, I respect myself. I can handle whatever shows up. Their opinion is optional. Then, breathe. Pause for 5 seconds. Then, speak this. I will speak to myself today like someone I am responsible for protecting. Do this for 7 days. The voice changes. Not overnight, but inevitably. Now, when you master your inner voice, you stop chasing validation. When you stop chasing validation, people start noticing you. When you stop performing, you become powerful. You have built inner calm. Now, we destroy approval addiction. The moment you stop trying to be liked, people like you more. Chapter 3, kill the need for approval. The moment you stop trying to be liked, people like you more. Approval is not love. Approval is applause. It's temporary, conditional, transactional. Real confidence begins when you stop chasing it. Approval is like sugar, feels good in the moment, but leaves you emptier, weaker, and craving more. It's not that people are addicted to validation, they're addicted to avoiding rejection. But here's the truth. People don't respect those who perform for approval. They respect those who don't need it. Approval is a currency, and the cheapest way to earn it is to spend your authenticity. The more you try to be liked, the less you are respected. Why approval? Chasing makes you weak. When you seek approval, you do three things. You edit yourself, you perform instead of connect. You hand people the remote control to your emotions. When you let others decide if you're valuable, you've already lost. You become a shapeshifter. You change how you talk, how you walk, how you show up, depending on who's watching. But here's the secret. People don't trust shapeshifters. They trust people who are rooted. Sarah's story, the performance trap. Let me tell you about Sarah. She ran a motivational page online. She posted what she thought people wanted, happy quotes, safe opinions, everything perfectly agreeable. She gained 3,000 followers. Not bad, but not impactful. Then one day, when she got tired of being liked but never remembered, tired of being seen but never truly known. So she posted something raw and honest. She talked about her anxiety, her loneliness, her struggle to love herself. It wasn't pretty, but it was real. Within a week, she lost 3,000 followers. But within 30 days, she gained 25,000. Why? Because authenticity doesn't attract everybody. It attracts the right bodies. Performers get applause, but the real ones get loyalty. Why approval is an endless stage. The more you perform, the more people expect you to keep performing. They don't see your heart. They see a character you've created. And when you stop performing, they don't feel betrayed. They feel confused because they never met the real you. The people who leave when you stop performing were never your audience. They were your critics, and critics don't belong on your stage. Power rule. Those who stay when you stop performing are your real tribe. Let that sink in. When you stop bending, filtering, and softening yourself just to be accepted, some people will fall away. Good, let them. They were blocking your real people from finding you. Approval versus respect. Big difference. Given when you perform, earned when you're consistent, pleases everyone. Not everyone will like it. Temporary long-term requires explaining, requires presence. Emotion-based, character-based. People might like you for being agreeable, but they'll respect you for being authentic. You don't need to be silent. You don't need to be loud. You just need to be true. Why we fear disapproval. It's not that you're afraid of being disliked. You're afraid of seeing your worst beliefs about yourself confirmed. But remember, when someone doubts you, it's not about you. It's about their lenses, their wounds, their insecurities. Rejection doesn't show you the truth. It shows you someone's preference. You don't fear their judgment. You fear your agreement with it. So stop agreeing. How unshakable people think. I don't chase approval. I respect myself. I don't perform. I express. I don't need to be liked. I choose to be real. I don't react. I respond. I don't convince. I stand. That is what calm sounds like. Not loud, not flashy, just rooted. The Approval Detox Challenge, 7 days. This week, your mission is simple. Say or post something you genuinely believe, even if some people may disagree. Then, do not defend it. Do not explain. Do not justify. Do not sweeten it to make it more likable. Just let it stand. This is not a test of courage. It's a test of identity. The emotional pattern shift. When someone disagrees with you, your nervous system triggers an instinct. Fix it. Defend yourself. Make them like you. But we are not doing that anymore. We respond with power. Option 1, nod, smile, stay calm. Option 2, that's an interesting perspective. Option 3, silence. Approval seekers argue. Calm people hold their position. Respect grows in silence. Real-life scenario training. Someone says, "Why would you do it like that?" Old you says, "I'm sorry, I just thought I didn't want to upset." New you says, "Because it works for me." And then, silence. "I don't agree with your opinion." Old you, "I'm sorry. What I was trying to say is..." New you, "It's okay. You don't have to." And then, silence. "I don't really like your style." Old you, "Really? What should I change? Should I try?" New you, smile and change nothing. Approval seekers panic. Leaders breathe. Your energy has two settings. There are two ways to walk into a room. "I hope they like me." "I wonder if I like the energy here." One is anxious. The other is sovereign. Approval chasers audition for rooms. Unshakable people choose rooms. The calm guy in the room. Principle. Have you noticed? The calmest person in the room is usually the most respected. Not the funniest, not the flashiest, not even the smartest. Just calm, grounded, unmoved. Why? Because calmness signals one thing: I am not dependent on your approval. That energy is magnetic, it's rare, and it's powerful. Signature phrase: respect grows in silence. Write it, repeat it, live it. Now that you've stopped performing for approval, what happens when someone tries to provoke you? Do you argue? Do you explain? Do you defend? No. Next, we master the most underestimated force of influence: silence. Chapter 4, The Power of Strategic Silence. Silence isn't weakness, it's a weapon. In the age of nonstop talking, the calm person who doesn't rush to respond, who doesn't explain, justify, or rush to fill the silence, holds the real power. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of information. It reveals character. It exposes insecurity. And more than anything, it shows confidence. Most people fear silence. They panic when the conversation slows down. They feel the urge to fill the space, to prove, to explain, to defend. But the calm, unshakable person, he uses silence intentionally, not to avoid the moment, but to control it. Silence is strategy. Let me tell you a story. When I was younger, my mentor, a silent type, calm, always listening, once sat across from an executive during a deal negotiation. The executive tried to pressure him. He said, "Listen, we both know you need this deal, so are you willing to accept our terms or not?" And then he went quiet. He expected panic. He expected a response. But my mentor did nothing. He just looked at him. Calm, comfortable, silent. 1 second, 3 seconds, 5 seconds. Most people can't handle 2 seconds of silence in a confrontation. By second 5, the insecure reveal themselves. And that's exactly what happened. The executive began to talk. He started explaining, justifying, even correcting himself. He ended up lowering his own price, even though my mentor never said a word, all because of silence. My mentor once told me, silence makes people reveal their truth, and those who cannot tolerate silence often fear what it might expose. Why silence works? Silence is not just emotional strength, it is psychological influence. Here's what happens in silent moments. People reveal their real thoughts. People start explaining things you never even asked. People panic and fill silence with insecurity. People assume you are confident, even if you haven't said a word. Because confidence isn't loud. Confidence is still. Silence isn't the absence of power. It is the presence of control. The hidden law of silence. Most people think influence happens through what you say. But the truth is, most influence happens in the moments you choose not to speak. Powerful people pause before answering. Use silence instead of defending themselves. Let others reveal insecurity while they remain calm. Only speak when necessary, never to fill space. In calm silence, they communicate, "I am not rushed. I am not desperate. I am not afraid of your opinion. I am comfortable with myself. That's what makes silence magnetic. Psychological fact. In business, education, and even criminal investigations, there's a known behavioral pattern. The more a person talks, the less power they have, because the one who needs to prove, persuade, or perform is always the weaker one. When silence becomes power. Let me teach you 3 powerful silent responses that instantly shift control in any room. Silent response. 1. The calm pause. When someone challenges you, criticizes you, or asks a confronting question, don't respond immediately. Pause, breathe, wait. This does 3 things. It shows emotional control. It prevents you from reacting impulsively. It makes your words, when you finally speak, 10 times more powerful. Psychology, fact, people assume pause, intelligence, and authority. So instead of rushing into response, say nothing. Own the silence. Silent response. 2. Do not defend yourself when someone questions your choices. Instead of explaining or justifying, simply pause, calmly say, "That's just how I do things," or "I hear you." Or even better, say nothing, just smile. The moment you stop defending yourself, you stop giving people power over you. Silent response. 3. The eye contact hold used when someone tries to intimidate, disrespect, or provoke you. Do this. Breathe slowly. Hold eye contact. Say nothing. That silence is not fear. That silence says, "I will not react, but I am fully present." This silence often makes the other person step back, correct themselves, or soften their tone, because silence reflects their own insecurity back to them. Try this in real life. The 5-second calm technique. Next time someone tries to rattle you, pause, breathe slowly for 5 silent seconds. 1. Breathe. 2. Steady eye contact. 3. Relaxed posture. 4. Calm face. 5. Still silent. You will feel calm. They will feel exposed. Silence is a mirror. It always shows what the other person is hiding. Silence is not avoidance. Some people confuse silence with weakness. Silence is not ignoring. Silence is not shutting down. Silence is not being scared to speak. Silence is choosing not to react in order to respond with power. When to use silence and when not to use silence when dealing with drama, manipulation, games, pressure tactics, insults, guilt trips, power plays, but don't use silence when setting boundaries, expressing your needs, giving love, building trust, defending the innocent. Silence is power, but wisdom is knowing when to use it. Your challenge for this week, the 3-day silence experiment. For the next 3 days in conversations, don't rush to reply. In meetings, speak less, listen more. In conflict, hold eye contact, say less, observe more. When someone pressures you, pause for 5 seconds before answering. Watch what happens. People will start treating you differently. They will lean in. They will listen more. They will take your words more seriously because they see you're not speaking to impress. You speak to influence. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. It's your greatest unseen advantage. Start using it. The loudest person in the room isn't the strongest. The calmest person is. Before you speak, your body speaks. Even when you're silent, people can feel your presence. Next, we learn how to send calm signals without saying a single word. Chapter 5. Body language that commands respect. Confidence is posture in slow motion. Before you speak, your body has already said 1,000 words. People decide, in less than 3 seconds, whether you're confident, insecure, trustworthy, or anxious. Not by what you say, but by what your body says. Here's the truth. You don't need to look intimidating. You need to look unbothered. Because confidence isn't loud. Confidence isn't aggressive. Confidence is calm. Calm is power. Silence is strength. Let me ask you, have you ever seen someone walk into a room and without saying anything, everybody just knew they were someone important? That's because presence isn't about showing off. Presence is about showing up with stillness. The psychology of presence. According to psychologists, humans read four main silent signals when meeting someone. Posture. Are you open or closed off? Movement. Are you rushed or relaxed? Eye contact. Are you grounded or insecure? Facial expression. Are you tense or comfortable? People are not just listening to your words. They're reading your nervous system, your calmness, or your anxiety. Here's the golden rule of body language. Confident people move slower. Insecure people rush. Think about it. Watch any world leader, top lawyer, surgeon, judge, spiritual teacher, or special forces commander. They don't rush into rooms. They don't fidget. They don't over-smile, over-explain, or over-talk. They move slowly. They breathe deeply. They pause before speaking. Not because they're hesitant, but because they're in control. Signature line: slow, deliberate. Stillness is presence. Power posture, without trying to look powerful. This isn't about forcing your chest out or puffing yourself up. Fake confidence looks stiff. Real confidence looks relaxed. Here's your new posture blueprint. The calm posture formula. Feet firmly grounded, shoulders relaxed, slightly back, not stiff, head neutral, not tilted down or up. Jaw relaxed, eyes soft, steady, breathing slow. You're not performing your posture. You're simply not shrinking. You don't posture to look bigger. You just stop making yourself smaller. The Amy Cuddy study psychologist Amy Cuddy ran a study at Harvard. She asked two groups to adopt different postures for just 2 minutes. One group sat small, hunched, arms crossed, shrinking. The other group sat open, calm, steady, with relaxed but expanded posture. Just 2 minutes. Here's what happened. Confidence hormones rose by 25%. Stress hormones dropped by 18%. Self-belief increased without saying a word. Your body doesn't just reflect your feelings. It creates them. If your posture right now resembles Gollum guarding the ring, sit up, breathe, become Frodo at least. Laugh a breath, pause. The 15% slower rule. This is advanced. Confident people have one thing, anxious people don't. Unhurried movement. They walk 15% slower. They turn their heads with intention. When they sit, they settle into their space. They don't collapse or fidget. It's subtle but powerful. Because when your body moves slowly, it communicates one thing. I am safe. I am in control. I do not chase. Insecure movement, fidgeting, rushed hand gestures, rapid blinking, adjusting clothes constantly, nervous laughing, over-smiling, darting eyes, calm, controlled movement. Breathe before you speak. Pause before answering. Slow head turns, still hands when listening. No unnecessary movements. Occupy your space without shrinking or performing. Real presence isn't loud. It's quietly undeniable. Eye contact, the calm power signal. There are 3 types of eye contact. Dominating, too aggressive, nonstop stare, feels threatening. Avoiding, breaking eye contact quickly, signals anxiety. Calm, grounded, soft, steady, and present. That 3rd type, calm eye contact, is magnetic. It's not a stare, it's presence. It says, I hear you, I see you, I'm not rushing, I'm comfortable with myself, and I'm comfortable with you. You don't need intense eye contact, you just need unhurried eye contact. Your face, the calm front door. Your face is constantly broadcasting signals, not just expression, but tension. Here's the truth. Sometimes people aren't reacting to your words. They're reacting to your tension. Your jaw is tight. Your nose is flaring. Your eyebrows are raised in anxiety. Your voice is rushed. Your smile is forced. But when you relax the face, relax the jaw, Drop the shoulders, calm the breath. People feel safe around you. People trust calm. The calmest person regulates the room. The power of breath. You don't need a speech coach to improve your presence. You just need to breathe. Slow breathing, low stress signal. Fast breathing, high stress signal. Want to sound unshakable? Before speaking, do this. Breathe in slowly, hold, exhale gently. That one breath will make your voice deeper, slower, clearer, calmer. It changes the energy of the conversation. The rule of unbothered presence. Let's simplify everything into one rule. Walk, move, and speak, as if you have nothing to prove and nothing to hide. That's calm authority. Real-life practice scenarios. This week in real life, when answering a question, pause first. When walking into a room, slow down by 15%. When listening, head still, eyes soft, shoulders relaxed. When tempted to fidget, breathe instead. When insecure, sit up, relax jaw, ground feet. You don't need to look alpha. You just need to look at peace. Confidence is not performance. It is permission to relax. Your challenge for this week, the presence practice. 7 days for the next 7 days. Practice standing and walking 15% slower. Mirror work. No posing, no posture stretching. Just stand, breathe, observe. Practice calm eye contact during one conversation daily. Once a day, unclench your jaw, lower shoulders, and breathe before speaking. Say less. Let your presence say more. At the end of the week, ask one person, "Do I seem calmer lately?" You'll be surprised. When your body's calm, your mind follows, and the world responds. You don't force respect. You don't beg for it. You radiate it. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing everything with presence. But what if you show calm posture? You speak with presence. You use silence wisely. And still, someone rejects you? Good. Because now, we're going to turn rejection into rocket fuel. Chapter 6, Turn Rejection into Rocket Fuel. Rejection is not a verdict, it's selection. We have been trained to see rejection as a shameful stamp, a signal of failure, proof that we weren't good enough. But here's the truth. Rejection doesn't always mean you weren't good enough. Sometimes it simply means you were in the wrong room. Rejection is not a wall, it's a door that just led you away from the wrong path. And if you understand this, rejection stops hurting. It starts guiding. A story, The Door That Didn't Open, 1995. A single mother sits in a coffee shop in Edinburgh with a baby stroller, a notebook, and a dream. She sends her manuscript, a story about a boy who learns he's a wizard, to 12 publishing houses. All 12 reject it. One even says, "Children won't read something that long." Most people would have stopped at rejection 3. Some would try again, maybe 7. But 12 rejections? That's where most dreams die. But she didn't stop. She believed rejection wasn't a verdict. It was selection. She didn't need everyone to say yes. Just one gatekeeper. On the 13th attempt, a small unknown publisher said yes. They printed just 500 copies. 500. Today, that little manuscript, Harry Potter, has sold over 500 million copies. And the woman? J.K. Rowling, one of the most successful authors of all time. The world didn't reject her because she lacked value. It just took 12 no's to find the right yes. Every no removes the wrong rooms, clearing the path to the right doors. The hidden gift of rejection. Rejection is not proof you're unworthy. It's proof that room wasn't built for you. When you're rejected, you didn't fail. You got filtered out of environments that couldn't see you, couldn't value you, couldn't grow you. Those no's aren't obstacles. They're arrows, pointing you toward people who do value you, communities who do understand you, opportunities that do fit you. Rejection reframe instead of, Why wasn't I accepted? Ask, why would I want to stay where I wasn't valued? Remember, some rooms are too small for your future. Rejection doesn't break confident people, it builds them. Let's flip the script. Most people think confidence leads to success. But the truth? Confidence doesn't come before success. Confidence comes after rejection. After you realized you survived it, you learned from it, you stopped begging for validation. And suddenly, the fear of rejection has no power over you. The most confident people on earth, they've been rejected more than anyone. They just learned how to convert it into fuel. The real enemy, rejection sensitivity. You don't fear failure. You fear embarrassment. You fear being seen trying and being turned down. But here's the truth. The moment you stop fearing rejection is the moment you become unstoppable. Because if rejection can't break you, nothing can. That's why confident people don't beg to be included. They don't over-apologize. They don't shape-shift to be accepted. If a door closes, they simply knock on another. If that room doesn't welcome them, they build their own. The experiment that changes everything. We're going to run an experiment. It's uncomfortable, it's powerful, and it works. This month, chase 10 rejections. Yes, deliberately. Apply for jobs you think are a stretch. Pitch clients you think are beyond your reach. Ask someone out. Post something bold without defending it. Request a partnership. Ask for the raise. By rejection 10, you will stop fearing it. Why? Because your nervous system will realize it doesn't break you, it builds you. You'll feel something unexpected, a strange kind of freedom. You'll realize you don't need every yes, because you only need the right yes. Signature calm philosophy. When they reject you, you don't chase, you don't explain, you don't negotiate your worth. You simply say, "Thank you for the clarity," and walk away calmly. Because rejection isn't personal, it's directional. It removes distraction so you can focus on your destination. The power of next. Confident people don't respond to rejection with overthinking. They respond with one word, next. Not angry, not bitter. Calm, collected, forward-moving. That's what unshakable feels like. The rejection redirection law. Let this sink in. Rejection doesn't block your path. Rejection reveals your path. The people who left weren't your tribe. The offers that refused you weren't your lane. The doors that closed weren't your destination. What looks like rejection is actually protection. Practical rejection response script. When someone says no, here's how you reply. Calmly, confidently, without frustration. I understand. Thank you for considering it. Appreciate the clarity. Thanks for the feedback, wishing you well. That's it. No begging, no defending. No long emails or desperate explanations. Because powerful people don't chase, they choose. The rejection energy shift. Imagine two people getting rejected. Person A, I must not be good enough. Person B, this wasn't my room. I'm getting closer to the right one. Who keeps going? Who becomes unstoppable? Who becomes unshakable? Calm rejection visualization. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine every rejection you've faced, laid out before you like stepping stones, not blocking you, but guiding you, redirecting you to something better. See those moments not as failures, but as filters. Filters that removed wrong friends, wrong jobs, wrong rooms, wrong opportunities, and one by one, they guided you to the right people, the right rooms, the right purpose. Open your eyes. Rejection to rocket fuel. Challenge your mission for this chapter. For the next 30 days, deliberately invite 10 rejections, applications, proposals, offers, conversations, sales, creative pitches, anything. Document them. Don't hide them. Celebrate them. Why? Because every rejection you collect builds your immunity, builds your calm, builds your power. By rejection 10, you won't be scared anymore. You'll be dangerous because you'll realize you're not made of glass. You're built for impact. Rejection is not a verdict. It's selection. It didn't remove you. It redirected you. When rejection stops scaring you, you finally get the courage to set boundaries. Because when you no longer fear losing people, you begin protecting your peace. Chapter 7. Set boundaries without apology. Respect without boundaries is a myth. Let me start with the truth that many people avoid. If you keep smiling while people cross your boundaries, you're not being nice. You're training them to disrespect you. People don't treat you the way you deserve to be treated. They treat you the way you allow them to treat you. And your boundaries are your instruction manual. But here's the problem. Most people think boundaries are mean, or selfish, or rude. But boundaries aren't walls. They are filters. Filters that separate what drains you from what strengthens you, what disrespects you from what honors you. The real reason most people can't set boundaries. You're not bad at setting boundaries because you're weak. You're bad at it because you fear something. Fear of being disliked. Fear of conflict. Fear of being called difficult. But remember, we already solved that fear in Chapter 6. Once rejection stops scaring you, boundary setting becomes effortless. Because when you no longer need their approval, you gain the power to honor your space. Let's make it real. A story about the client who paid AAA consultant I know used to charge $500 per project. One client constantly demanded extra work. Late night calls, last-minute changes, emotional pressure. Exhausted but afraid to lose the client, he quietly obeyed. Until one day he snapped, but calmly. He sent one email. My work has boundaries. Last-minute changes and after-hours requests are out of scope. My updated rate is $4,500. If that works for you, we continue. If not, I understand, and I release this slot to someone else. He expected rejection. Instead, the client replied, thank you for finally acting like a professional. Send the new contract. Pause. Let the lesson land. People don't respect you because you're available. They respect you because you're selective. Here's your new boundary line. That doesn't work for me. Not aggressive, not emotional, not apologetic, just calm, clear, final, no more. I'm really sorry, but if you don't mind, I hope it's okay. Boundaries don't require justification, only communication. The boundary formula: soft voice, strong line. When setting boundaries, use a calm tone, use firm words, use few words. Example: I don't answer work calls after 7 p.m. I'm not available for that. I wish you well, but this conversation is no longer healthy for me. No anger, no long speeches, just calm, sovereign energy. Why calm boundaries are more powerful than loud ones? Angry boundaries are emotional. Calm boundaries are authoritative. Shouting shows they touched you. Silence shows they can't shake you. That's real power. The truth about people who resist your boundaries. Some people will be offended when you set boundaries, but only the people who benefited from you having none. Let that sink in. Boundary response cheat sheet. When someone pushes, manipulates, or tries to guilt trip you, here are calm responses that protect your peace. I'm not available for that. I don't take on extra work without agreement. I'm choosing not to continue this conversation. I understand, but my decision stands. I don't share personal details. I will respond when I'm ready, not when I'm rushed. You don't owe explanations, only clarity. The coffee shop lesson story. A young woman was working in a coffee shop. Her coworker asked, "Can you take my shift tomorrow?" She had plans but felt guilty saying no, so she lied. I'm busy, I think. I might be out of town." The coworker pushed harder. "Can't you change your plans? It's just one day." She said yes, reluctantly. She spent the day angry, not at him, but at herself. Next time she tried something different. He asked again, She smiled calmly and answered, "Thanks for asking, but that doesn't work for me." He nodded. No drama, no guilt, no need for excuses. She learned an unforgettable lesson. When you stop justifying, other people stop negotiating. Signature line. Your time is not a suggestion box. You don't let people vote on your piece. You don't ask permission to protect your energy. The iron rule of boundaries. Your boundaries don't push good people away. They filter bad fits out. The right people will respect them. Some will even admire them. You will earn more respect with your no than with 100 exhausted yeses. Calm boundary visualization. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a door, gently closed, not slammed, not locked, just calmly, confidently closed. That door is your boundary. It keeps chaos out. It keeps energy in. It tells the world, I choose what enters my space. Open your eyes, that feeling. That's calm power. Boundary setting challenge. 7 days. This week, say no to one thing that drains you. State a limit without apology or justification. Notice how your energy, confidence, and respect increase. You're not being rude. You're being self-respecting. The calm boundary mantra. I don't explain my boundaries. I honor them. I don't fear losing people. I fear losing myself. What happens when you don't set boundaries? You don't avoid conflict. You internalize it. It shows up as resentment, overthinking, silent exhaustion, and burns your calm from the inside out. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're self-respect. Now that you protect your peace, you're no longer guided by reactions, fear, or people-pleasing. You're ready for the next evolution, living not by emotions, not by results, but by standards. Chapter 8, Detach from outcomes, attached to standards. You will never control how people respond. You will never control how life unfolds. But you can control your standards. Let that sink in. You don't rise to what you want. You rise or fall to the level of your standards. You can't control if they will like you or choose you or applaud you. But you can control how you speak, how you react, how you carry yourself, and how you show up, regardless of the room you're in. That is real power. The truth most people run from. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control outcomes. Will they say yes? Will they approve me? Will I get it right? Will this work? They obsess over the results they cannot control, while neglecting the one thing they can control: their effort, their preparation, their presence, their standard. That is why they feel anxious. That is why they feel powerless. But here's the shift. When you detach from outcomes and attach to standards, anxiety is replaced with calm. Listen to this Navy SEAL quote, and remember it forever. Under pressure, you don't rise to the occasion. You sink to the level of your training. Your training is your standard, the level you refuse to go below, even on your worst day. The audition that changed everything. A young musician walked into a high-stakes film audition. Top producers, harsh judges, a career-defining opportunity, his dream. 15 minutes before playing, he called his mentor, panicking. "What if they don't like me?" His mentor calmly replied, "Wrong question. Ask this instead. Will I perform at the level I promised myself I would?" Silence. It hit him. He was obsessing over the wrong thing. He took a breath. He walked inside. He didn't play to impress. He played to honor his standard. He didn't get that role, but he got invited to 3 bigger ones. Why? Because people trust consistency, and consistency only comes from standards, not moods. When you stop chasing outcomes, outcomes start chasing you. Your new rule of calm: you don't control if people approve you. You control if you approve yourself by how you show up. Read that again. Why you never feel fully confident. You don't feel confident because you don't trust yourself. And you don't trust yourself Because you abandon your standards whenever emotions or approval get involved. You said you'd arrive early, but you scrolled for 30 more minutes. You said you'd speak calmly, but emotions took over and you reacted. You said you'd hold your boundary, but someone pushed and you folded. Now your brain doesn't trust your word, so it doesn't give you confidence. Because confidence is not hype, it's self-trust. And self-trust is built by keeping your standards, especially when it's inconvenient. Standards create stability. Standards are not goals. Goals are targets. Standards are habits. Goal, get healthy. Standard, never skip morning hydration and 30 minutes of movement. Goal, be respected at work. Standard, never complain, never gossip. Deliver early, speak calmly. Goal, be emotionally strong. Standard, never react emotionally in the moment. Respond after thinking. Goals motivate you, standards change you. Your standards protect you from your moods. On tired days, on overwhelmed days, on rejection-filled days. Standards say, this is who I am, no matter how I feel. That is calm power. The standard of emotional discipline. Imagine two people. Person A, highly emotional, responds based on pressure, tone, and mood, always reactive. Person B, calm, grounded, responds based on principles, not emotions. Who do people respect? Who gets trusted? Who gets promoted? Who gets followed? Exactly. Your calm is not just personal peace. It's professional currency. It's social gravity. Your reflective exercise tonight, ask yourself one question. Did I control what I could control today? Not. Was I liked? Not. Did I win? Not. Did they approve? Only. Did I stand in my calm? This single question, asked daily, will rewire your self-trust. Example, standards for an unshakable life. Listen, then choose yours. Emotional standards. I do not respond while angry. I do not chase approval. Silence is my first response, not emotion. Time standards. I respect my time the way I respect my money. I do not say yes when I mean no. Let me get back to you is my default when unsure. Energy standards. I do not explain my boundaries. I do not engage in gossip, drama, or noise. I protect my peace like a valuable asset. Presence standards. I enter a room with calm posture and steady energy. I speak slowly and clearly. I do not rush, panic, or prove. These are not rules. These are self-respect in motion. A story about the calm surgeon. A heart surgery is about to begin. Young surgeons are nervous. Monitors beep faster. Pressure builds. But one doctor walks in slowly. No rush, no panic. Calm energy. He places his tools down deliberately. No wasted motion. Looks at the team. He doesn't say a word. And yet, instantly, the room shifts. Everyone relaxes. Focus sharpens. Why? Because calm is contagious. More contagious than anxiety. He didn't control the heart. He didn't control the outcome. He controlled presence. That is leadership. Your calm promise. I don't control outcomes. I control preparation. I control presence. I control principles. And that is enough. When you detach from outcomes, you stop chasing. You stop reacting. You stop proving. And you start owning your pace. Guarding your peace. Delivering your best without needing reward. Unshakable people don't chase outcomes. They carry standards. Final lesson of this chapter. Remember, outcomes will always fluctuate. Your standards never should. Stop trying to control how people receive you. Start controlling how you present yourself. Stop trying to control their reaction. Start mastering your response. Stop waiting for external validation. Start living by internal regulation. When you control what you can control, it's enough. Calm practice. 45 seconds. Take a slow breath in. Picture a circle. Outside the circle, outcomes, approval, reactions, opinions. Inside the circle, standards, actions, presence, principles. Breathe out slowly. Now imagine shrinking your world to focus only on what's inside your circle. This is your calm, your control, your clarity. Reflection. Question. Did I control what I could control today? Now that you've stopped chasing outcomes, you're finally ready to chase something far more powerful. Growth. Chapter 9. Embrace discomfort. Daily 1% rule. Comfort is the enemy of identity. The world sold you a lie. That confidence comes first, then courage, then action. But the truth? You don't build confidence first. You build courage first. Confidence follows. Confidence is not step one. Confidence is the trophy. Confidence is the echo of actions already taken. Action first, courage first, then confidence. A story about the 4:30 a.m. mirror. David Goggins once stood in front of a mirror at 4:30 a.m. He was overweight, depressed, unmotivated. He felt worthless. He didn't feel confident. He didn't feel inspired. He didn't feel ready, but he didn't wait to feel better. He acted before the feeling came, and that changed his life. Courage is doing it before you feel ready. Confidence is what happens after. The illusion of someday. Most people secretly believe the same thing. I'll act when I feel ready. I'll start when I feel confident. I'll try when I'm not scared. But here is the hidden rule successful performers know. You don't wait for readiness. You create readiness. Not by thinking, not by planning, but by doing hard things on purpose. The identity equation. Let's keep it simple. Thoughts don't build identity. Actions do. You became who you are because of what you repeatedly did, not what you wished. Want to become unshakable? Then do one small, uncomfortable thing every day. On purpose. Not because it's fun, but because it's uncomfortable. Why? Because discomfort is the toll booth to greatness. Comfort protects your feelings. Discomfort builds your character. You choose. The problem with staying comfortable, comfort feels safe. Comfort feels warm. Comfort feels familiar. But comfort is also sneaky, because while you stay comfortable, your confidence slowly dies. Your stress tolerance weakens. Your emotional resilience shrinks. You start thinking normal challenges are too much. Life begins to intimidate you. Why? Because you stopped training for it. You stopped practicing courage. Your nervous system needs discomfort, just like your muscles do, to grow stronger, to adapt, to evolve. If you don't train your tolerance for discomfort, you become emotionally fragile. And fragile people break easily. But strong, calm, grounded people, they are built in discomfort. The 1% rule, your new lifestyle. Not 50% hard, not 100% intense. Just 1% uncomfortable every day. You don't need to run a marathon. You don't need to move to the mountains. You don't need to become a monk. You just need to intentionally do one thing that makes you slightly uncomfortable, on purpose. Take a cold shower. Speak up in the meeting. Say no and without explaining. Ask the question you're scared to ask. Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Post your thoughts online and do not defend them. Sit in silence instead of scrolling. Not extreme, not dramatic, just uncomfortable. Uncomfortable enough to require courage, because that's how confidence is built. The moment you start choosing discomfort, you stop fearing it. Why uncomfortable actions work. When you do something uncomfortable, 3 powerful things happen in your brain. You prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort. Your brain starts building a new identity. I do hard things. That identity makes future discomfort easier. That is why courage grows, confidence grows, calm grows. Boredom can't grow you. Comfort can't grow you. Only discomfort builds you. A story, the coffee shop experiment. There was a man terrified of talking to strangers. He studied psychology books, watched TED Talks, even took anxiety courses. Nothing changed until one day he found a challenge. Every morning walk to a coffee shop and ask for a 10% discount. For no reason, with a calm face. No explanations. Day 1, Panic, sweating, trembling, denied. He ran out. Day 2, they said no. He survived. Day 3, they laughed. He practiced stillness. By day 20, he didn't care what people thought. Confidence? No. Something stronger. Self-trust. He trained his nervous system to handle embarrassment and not die from it. He didn't just build confidence. He built emotional immunity. You can't be unshakable if you've never shaken. The inner shift. When you start intentionally choosing discomfort, something changes, quietly but permanently. You stop taking things personally. You stop avoiding difficult conversations. You stop freezing under pressure. You stop being afraid of people's opinions. You stop reacting. You start responding. That is emotional maturity. That is unshakable calm. Courage is the muscle. Discomfort is the gym. You don't get stronger by thinking about lifting weights. Your 30-day uncomfortability challenge. For the next 30 days, not forever, just 30 days every day, do one thing that makes you slightly uncomfortable. Not painful, not overwhelming, just uncomfortable. Sit in silence for 10 minutes. No phone. Have that difficult conversation. Make the request you've been avoiding. Show up early, consistently. Take the stairs. Speak when your voice shakes. Say no without apology or explanation. Reason: confidence doesn't come from success. Confidence comes from showing up, even when it's uncomfortable. That's courage, and courage builds calm. Know this: discomfort is the toll booth to greatness. Courage first, confidence follows. A guided calm. Exercise, close your eyes. Breathe in slowly. Picture a door in front of you. One step beyond that door is a version of you that is more grounded, more certain, more calm under pressure. And the door? It's not locked. It's just uncomfortable to open. You've walked past this door before, avoided it, excused it, denied it. But today you put your hand on the handle, not because it's easy, but because it's uncomfortable. Breathe out slowly. Calm is not built in comfort. Calm is built in daily discomfort, handled gracefully. Final reflection of Chapter 9. I don't chase confidence, I practice courage. I don't run from discomfort, I schedule it. Calm is not gifted, it is trained. Now that you've learned to train your calm through discomfort, you're ready for the final stage. When you need nothing, you cannot be broken. Chapter 10. Need nothing, fear nothing. Peace is the highest form of wealth. There is a level of strength that silence cannot hide, a level of peace that chaos cannot disturb, a level of confidence that doesn't need to speak, because it is felt. That is true power, power that is not loud, not defensive, not reactive. It is simple. It is calm. It is untouchable. It is what happens when you need nothing, fear nothing. Most people think confidence comes from having more money, more approval, more achievements, more titles, more applause, more evidence. But unshakable people know the truth. Real power begins when you stop bargaining with the world for your worth. When you no longer need validation, you become validation. When you no longer chase acceptance, you become impossible to reject. Because rejection doesn't touch who you are. It only redirects where you're going. This isn't arrogance. It's self-possession. The story of losing everything and still being whole. I want to share something personal. Years ago, I lost everything. Not just money, not just relationships, identity. Everything gone. The title I thought defined me. The people I thought would stay. The dreams I thought made me worthy. And when it all collapsed, I felt naked because I didn't just lose things. I lost the version of me that believed I needed them. But on the other side of loss, something unexpected happened. Silence, stillness, no noise, no performing, no pretending. And suddenly, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. not comfort, not happiness. Something deeper, peace, the kind that doesn't need a reason. I realized, for the first time, everything I thought I needed to feel valuable was never the source in the first place. The door that only opens when you stop knocking. Here's the paradox of power. When you need approval, it controls you. When you need success, stress owns you. When you need relationships, you compromise your standards. But when you need nothing, you start choosing. You start leading. You start living on standards, not terms. The world starts knocking on your door because it senses you are no longer knocking on theirs. The identity rule. The less you depend on their external things to define you, the more powerful you become. This is why monks radiate calm, why Navy SEALs under pressure look relaxed, why some CEOs walk into billion-dollar negotiations without trying to impress. They don't need to win the room. They already own themselves. And when you own yourself, the room follows. Your self-worth is not up for sale. Think about this. Your phone has a protective case. Your car has insurance. Your house has locks. But your identity, the core of who you are, do you protect it or do you hand it out freely? Every time you chase approval, you explain to be accepted, you beg to be understood, you panic when someone dislikes you, you are putting your worth on the market. And when your worth is up for sale, anyone can become your buyer. But today that ends. The man who didn't move, picture this: a stormy beach, waves crashing violently, wind screaming, sand swirling. But there, barely visible, is a rock, still, silent, unaffected. That is the posture of someone who needs nothing. They don't fight the storm. They don't resist it. They simply remain. That is unshakable. Not because they are stronger than the storm, but because the storm has nothing to grip. The formula for emotional freedom. Write this down. Need, fear. Less need, less fear. No need, your freedom. When you don't need people, you stop fearing rejection. When you don't need approval, you stop fearing judgment. When you don't need perfection, you stop fearing failure. Power, peace, presence begins the moment you stop needing and start choosing. The monk and the millionaire. There's a famous conversation. A millionaire asked a monk, "Why do I, who have everything, feel so empty, while you, who has nothing, feel so full?" The monk smiled. "Because you are attached to everything and connected to nothing, while I am attached to nothing and connected to everything. Attachment is need. Need is fear. Fear is noise, and noise kills peace." The calm filter. From now on, everything that enters your life must pass through one filter. Does this disturb my peace? If the answer is yes, it is too expensive. Some people are too expensive. Some opportunities are too expensive. Some arguments are too expensive. Not because they cost money, but because they cost peace. And peace is the highest form of wealth. Lifetime challenge. This is not a 7-day challenge, not a 30-day challenge. This one is for life, for the next 365 days, and maybe forever. Live as if nothing external can upgrade or downgrade your worth. Nothing outside you can disturb what is calm within you. Your identity is not for sale, not through rejection, loss, status, or approval. Say it. I carry my value with me. It cannot be given. It cannot be taken. It just is. The magnetic presence of someone who needs nothing. When you reach this level of calm, people notice your silence and feel curiosity. They notice your poise and feel respect. They notice your presence and feel trust. Because when you need nothing from them, you become rare, and rare is powerful. When you stop reacting, you start leading. This isn't just a line. It's the transformation you've been building all along. The goal was never to become louder, never to become harder, never to dominate the room. The goal was to become still enough, strong enough, self-possessed enough to no longer need the room. Because when you no longer need the room, that's when the room starts to listen. 60-second calm practice. Close your eyes, breathe in slowly, hold. Now breathe out gently. You don't need to rush. You don't need to explain. You don't need to chase. You just are. You are calm. You are composed. You are unshakable. Open your eyes. Carry this presence with you. Calm is power. Silence is strength.